like to open the Beaver County Board of Commissioners work session for Wednesday, October 21st, 2020. Call the meeting to order. Review work session minutes. Any issues from either of you? None here. Nope. Department head reports. As everybody looks at Dan Coville. So,
just an update, the project down at Bridgewater Crossing has been, it's underway.
It's underway,
yes.
Okay. So, what's the anticipated completion time?
He actually told me that if the weather cooperates, which of course it has in the past couple of days, the next few days are going to be okay, but
Dan, can you hear, or do you want Dan Colville to move closer? It may not hurt for you to move.
I can hear fine. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't need there.
Good. Okay. Good.
so the work has started, and he is anticipating. I talked with Mr. Justin Vicker's staff prior to him starting. He gave me notification. He is anticipating, with good weather, 3 to 4 weeks. So.
Okay. Good. Well, it'd be good to get that phase done.
Okay, you sent us an email about 3 projects, or like 3 pieces, 3 items.
3 items for the
2 mowers and a building.
Yes, sir.
Move it in this. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I sent my email back.
Yeah. I don't have any issue with that either, Dan.
Okay, thank you. I'll do all the documentation and let Corey know that you guys approved it, and we'll move forward with that.
So, can you just, I drove by there a week or so ago. There was still some demo stuff at the boathouse, and can you just kind of let people know what we plan to put in replace of that boathouse building then?
Yes, we're looking at approximately a 30-foot by 30-foot block, cement block building. We want to stay away from lumber, number one, because the cost of the lumber is so high right now. But more importantly than that is, so no one tries to burn it down. So, and that'll be used to house a tractor and some equipment that we use to maintain the beach area. And also there are control and pump units that operate the aeration system in the lake to try to keep down the bacteria and likes of that in the lake. So we'll have to have something to house that as well.
Okay.
So that's what we're looking at, a 30 by 30, 1 stall, 1 garage building.
Good. Well, hopefully get that done as well. Any other department head reports? Okay. Solicitors report.
Just a brief update before jumping into the resolution on the reassessment. I spoke with Kevin McElwain and our chief assessor. Tyler Technologies is currently down in Ambridge, and they're going to be starting in the economy area next week. So they're still moving throughout the county. We have 35 resolutions listed for tomorrow. A couple highlights. Number 2 is...
Excuse me. I keep getting questions about people going to people's houses. Can you give us a little thumbnail sketch of what residents can and cannot do? If somebody wants to come in their house, do they have to let them go in or not? I mean, these are questions that I keep hearing. I'm sure you're getting them too.
Yeah, I don't think they're requesting.
No.
Yeah. So to be clear for everyone, Tyler Technology is not going to be asking to go into your house. If anyone asks that question, immediately close the door and contact the police department. If they're asking you any questions, it would be regarding the outside. They might take measurements of the outside of your house, or just ask you general questions as far as how many bathrooms, bedrooms you have in your house, but they will not ask to go inside and look at it. It's just general questions regarding and measurements that they're going to be taking. If you're not there, they're going to leave you a tag for you to call them back, that they'll ask you those questions probably over the phone, or arrange a time that they can go back to your house that you're going to be there.
And what's the resident's responsibility? Do they have to mail the card back? Do they have to call back?
They do not.
These are questions that we're getting.
They do not, but it's this part of the process is trying to gather as much accurate data as they possibly can. So by answering those questions now, it might save them the headache of having to come in here to the courthouse or speak with someone later down the line if their house shows that they have more bedrooms or more bathrooms than what they otherwise do.
Yeah, I think all they're trying, what's on the books.
Right.
May show a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house, and all of a sudden they see 2 vents in the roof when they're
That's
looking
the
at or an
telltale
attached
sign.
garage or something in the back, and they're just trying to verify what.
Yeah, all they're trying to do
What it
now
looks
is just,
like from an outside
is just
appearance.
gather data. They're just trying to gather data on each particular property. And then there won't be an assessment made at this time. You won't know what your taxes are gonna be at this time. It's just simply to gather data on each particular piece of property. And this process is gonna continue into next spring.
And the final question is, they're all gonna have identification.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, they all have identifications, identifying themselves as representatives of the company called Tyler Technologies.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks.
Number 2 on the resolution list tomorrow is the contract that we have with CD Vending. They provide the vending machines down at the ice arena. Number 11 and 12, we've talked a lot about. This is the CARES Act funding that the county has received from the federal government. We've gone through and identified profit agencies and small businesses who will be getting approximately $635,000 for nonprofits and $1.2 million for small businesses that will be distributed via the checks through the CARES Act funding. 13 is the collective bargaining agreement through the Sheriff's Department. We've already approved this. This is just, we've now gone through and put all the changes into the actual contract itself, and it's the sign off on the contract. 17 is an agreement regarding Bridgewater Crossing. This is an agreement with Bridgewater Borough and the developer for the county. The county currently has a walkway around the outside of the property. That walkway is going to be moved. This agreement moves that walkway. It also lists various obligations that the developer and the county are responsible with moving forward. And as you heard Mr. Colville mention earlier, currently ongoing, the county is having a contractor come in to sort of clean up the area, the vegetation down in that area currently. And this agreement is with the developer and the borough of Bridgewater to sort of clean up some of the stuff that previously was listed in that agreement. 18 and 27 are tax exonerations. Number 34 is an authorization for Eric Brewer to sign grant proposals on behalf of the county for various CARES Act programs. And then 35, we've seen this before, this is an extension of the Allen Crest property. They're still working with Brighton Township. We spoke with Brighton Township's manager, Brian Dehart, and the hopes is that with this 90-day extension, this will give them enough time to get all the approvals that they need from the township to hopefully move forward with a closing on that property.
Garen, that was gonna be my question on 35 was, did you speak to the township? You know, I don't know, how many times have we extended this?
8, 7, 8.
8.
7 or 8.
This is the 8th one.
Yeah, it's,
So I guess my question, you know, comes next time, if for some reason after 90 days, they don't complete all the stuff they need to with the township, you know, does the county look at, you know, throwing out this agreement just because it's been so long? But if you talk to the township, I guess there's really no questions right now, and that's okay.
yeah, at this point, the township manager did verify that this is still an ongoing process. I will point out, whenever we bid this out, they were the only company that submitted a bid. But yeah, it has been continued, like I said, numerous times for them to try to get appropriate. DEP's been involved. There's been a lot of issues up there as far as trying to work through various government approvals that they've needed.
So it's not just Brighton Township's DEP too?
Correct. Then there's issues with the sewer lines.
Stormwater.
Stormwater.
and all that stuff.
Yeah, there's
that state, it looks like federal, state, and local
Yeah.
issues they've been working.
They have the Holy Trinity that they're working through there.
Yeah. It is frustrating, I think, just given what this year looks like from a development standpoint, there's probably not a whole lot of people chomping at the bit to go for that property. But I agree with Dan, at some point, it's kind of like, guys, you know, we just can't keep extending.
Well, I think
So-
that breaking point would probably be once Brighton Township tells us, hey, we've done everything, they've gotten all the clearances from us.
Okay.
Then at that point, I would probably say, we reach out to them and say, we're not aware of anything else that's holding you from a government end. This time we did verify that there are still a couple of lingering issues out there with Brighton Township. And then unless there's any questions on that or anything else, we'll need an executive session to discuss a personnel matter.
Okay. Any other questions, sir? Yeah. Move on to Board of Commissioner reports. Dan, you want to start first?
I do not have anything.
Okay. Tony?
Well, we met with, Dan, we met with the representative of a company that wants to come in and do our cafe. So we still have to work out some logistics, and he has to get some paperwork done. But I think it's gonna be a good fix.
Yeah, I was very encouraged. Seems like a good guy. I think one of the neat stories around this, if it happens, is the guy who relocated here for the cracker plant.
Right.
He's moving his family here, putting in residency here, and wants to start a restaurant. So I think that's a pretty exciting outcome. If
Yeah, I was pretty
you can
impressed
get
with his
this to-
business savvy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comes from a family that ran a restaurant in California for many years, so hopefully that comes through.
I was down the election year.
What's that?
That's good to hear. I'm sure our employees, as winter comes, will be happy.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely.
I was by the election bureau yesterday. That's a busy place right now.
It's a zoo, is what it is.
Yeah, I try to be nice about it, but no, they're really busy. I mean, it's gonna be a big voting election in Beaver County, that's for sure, as well as the rest of the country. I saw in the paper the statistics so far. We have 20,000 returned.
Yeah, I just got an update this morning from Doreen, so.
And so it's pretty exciting. We'll see what the final outcome will be. That's all I have.
Yeah, so just to read the official numbers, there were 32,931 ballots mailed out in Beaver County. And as of this morning, 20,914 have been returned. So that still leaves just a little over 12,000 ballots out there, but I've been noticing more traffic today, and I think it'll continue right up to Election Day, that we'll get those back. Kind of an interesting breakdown that she gave me, but I think that, again, the Bureau of Elections is doing an outstanding job handling all this and making sure that people's voices are heard through their vote, and every vote's being accounted for here.
Like in the past, are they gonna be returned, sent over to the voting area so that they can, as part of their count, handle the absentee ballots?
Everything's being handled through them right here. The ballots are all down in a secured room.
So they're
being
not
ready
going
to
out
be
to the-
opened Election Day and counted. Yeah. And just, because I know this question came up, I ran into one of the folks in the office, had an obituary in her hand and had gone and pulled the ballot of a person who had passed away after returning their ballot. And by law, that ballot is no longer valid. So, people want to talk about fraud and all these issues with it. That's how good our group is. They're checking the obituaries every day. And if that person has already mailed in a ballot or has a mail-in ballot, that'll be pulled from the vote total. So that's just some of the details of all of the issues that they're working through to make sure this is a safe, fair, effective voting process. Just two other quick things. The CARES Act, as we mentioned, there's still like 8 checks to be picked up, but about 110 checks have been processed, and we've been have people coming in and signing for those from the nonprofit and the small business area. It's still an ongoing process. There's still some that we may be waiting for paperwork and some other stuff, and we haven't addressed the municipalities yet, but that's a work in process. Also, just a quick third quarter revenue update. Just on a year-to-date basis through 3 quarters, Our revenue has been 79.3% of the budget. That's down by about 4.6 million, or 6% from the same period last year. So while we're doing okay, between us and the state, budgeting could be an interesting process, and we're going through the budgeting process right now as a result of that, and trying to see what our revenue is going to look like through the full year, and what we'll be facing next year in the budget. And then the last thing is I had a very good conversation with the Deputy Secretary of Agriculture about two bills. They're Senate bill and a state bill, Senate Bill 663 and House Bill 1504. And it's about dog licensing. They are advocating and asking for county support to have both those bills released. It would increase dog licensing fees, which haven't been raised since 1996, I think, was the last time. And it would raise the fees from the $6.50 to $10. There would still be a senior citizen discount that would only move that 50 cents to $7. Lifetime things would increase as well. And the county would derive an extra 50 cents out of that. So instead of us keeping $1.50 of that $6.50, we would keep $2 of the 10 if that bill goes through. This whole thing is pretty insolvent. They've been drawing funds from all over the place. So something we'll discuss, and maybe send out some letters of support to our legislative delegation to see how that impacts us. And Sandy, where are we on the online licensing?
It's up and running.
It's up, running, no issues?
No issues at all. You
Okay.
can log on to, go to the treasurer's tab on the website, purchase your dog license online, and it will be out in the mail in the next few days to get it to you.
Excellent. Okay, and that's all I had. Any other business from anyone? Audience participation? Even though you jumped ahead, Mr. Woolley, I'm not gonna hold that against you.
Good.
You can ask another question.
How's getting ready for the budget doing? Is he coming up and making the rounds
Corey has
through all
been
the
here most
departments?
of the last 3 days, and last week, and meeting individually with all the department heads. As far as I know, it's going well. We're getting reports back from some of the departments of Dan and others that just met to go through
And
the
this year
process.
is not looking towards any trouble? This year is still ahead budget-wise?
Well, there's always trouble, we just don't know it yet. So as soon as we discover it, we'll let
But
you
you
know.
got some funds set aside to offset it.
I think in speaking with Corey, the intention is that a preliminary budget would be available for our November 17th, would be the voting meeting in November for the preliminary budget, and then pass it in December. I don't know the exact date off the top of my head, but I think that's what we're looking at.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody's worried about taxes or something like that, I can tell you there's no appetite, nor I think at this point any reason to anticipate we would have to do tax
There never
increases.
is.
So don't be concerned about that. We'll make this work somehow. But the realities are that obviously this pandemic has set counties back, the state back, and the federal government even further back in terms of deficits and stuff. So we'll figure out a way to make it work. Okay, anything else? Yes, sir.
Is it still the position of the commissioners, I'm assuming, since I don't see the resolutions on the back table, that you have decided that you are not gonna release the resolutions to the public until after the meeting?
I will defer back to the chair and council on that decision, so.
Yeah, I believe that's where it was left at, is that the resolution list will be available to the public and posted online directly after the meeting.
Directly after the work session, prior to the public meeting.
And I reiterate my comments that I made 2 weeks ago, that it doesn't give a substantial amount of time for any of the public to be aware, to have a conversation with the commissioners before they vote.
Yeah, I think we could do better, and we'll keep discussing that. Okay. Nothing else, we'll adjourn, no reason to come back right there to executive session, so, meeting adjourned.